The deadline is fast approaching. This week, school districts across the state must finalize their budgets, and most are making cuts that include laying off teachers.
Debbie, the one thing that the General Assembly must accomplish in 2009 is passage of a new 2-year state budget. The discussion begins with talk of possible budget cuts, even for public schools, an area of the budget that is normally untouchable.
The budget cuts within our school district have been very difficult this year. We have had to trim approximately $1.5 million out of a budget of approximately $18 million. It hit all of our schools hard, and it hit the high school just as hard as anywhere else, where we have trimmed 5 positions from our staff for next year.
I think everyone's feelings are at first shock, especially last December, right after Christmas, or right around that time when the governor came, sent out memos to all school districts, and it came on the news, it was in the newspapers, TV, that they're going to have to cut $300 million from the state budget.
Governor Mitch Daniels instructed his staff to develop priorities, preparing for budget cuts that could begin in a little more than a month.
If you want to know where cuts are most likely, look where the most money is being spent, and that's public schools. This is a graph from the governor's website that tells the story. Public schools get almost half the state budget, 48%. Combine that with higher ed, they get 13%, and that's 61% of the budget. Here's what the governor said yesterday when he reported a $250 million budget shortfall.
We plan no immediate action based on these findings. We will watch revenues a little longer, but today's not a day to remove any option, except we're not going to raise taxes on people who are strapped as it is.
Well, I live in this school district, and frankly, I'm not a big proponent of raising taxes. I don't think raising taxes is an answer. It becomes too easy, I think, in some cases, and then it becomes a way that you really are doubling up or tripling up on people paying taxes. There is and there has to be better ways to fund our schools rather than on the backs of the people that live in our community.
The IPS board voted last night to carve $26.8 million out of its budget.
School leaders say the cuts are painful but necessary. Here's how it all breaks down.
20 IPS police officers will lose their job. Every high school will lose 1 assistant principal, totaling 11 jobs. 20 custodians will be out of work, and 110 administration and support positions here at the district's administration building will be eliminated.
Well, you'd like to think that cutting non-instructional people will save you a lot of money, but those people do so much more than what they get paid for. When you're getting paid $10, $12, $13 an hour, you're not saving a lot of money by cutting our non-certified teaching staff.
Okay, where are we going to cut? We had to look at programs in schools and make decisions. Some school corporations cut, like in elementary, they would cut out counselors, art and music, maybe PE, to keep the core curriculum going.
I think a lot of kids come to school for subjects other than social studies, science, English, and math. I think cutting classes like art and PE and cutting them out completely does a real disservice to our kids.
We also lost our librarian. She was for 2 elementaries. We had her every other week. She would read to the kids, get them excited about books. She was in charge of all the purchasing, making sure that our collections were up to date and interesting to the kids. She had challenging programs for the kids.
One solution I would be a strong proponent of is what happened to the lottery money that was supposed to help in education in Indiana. It does not. Never has. I think in revenue generating for schools, the idea of sharing that lottery money for our education system in Indiana would be a great deal more beneficial to us than considering the fact that we have to raise taxes every time we want money.
Yeah, what's the best option? Not just cutting teachers, not cutting the arts, trying not to cut much in each area. And I think most corporations are trying to do that.
Things will get better. and hopefully we will not destroy what we have spent years building up because of them.